And that's the very reason I set up this channel, was to help people become a UX designer or UX researcher. I found a lot of people were struggling and they didn't know where to turn to get the answers. And that's why we're here. So don't forget to like and follow and subscribe to this channel so we can get you to where you want to be in your career. So in terms of UX design and UX research, I found that people would struggle with the amount of information that they have to learn, understand and reflect on. So this can be really overwhelming and overpowering. And how do you go through all that information and be able to apply it in the real world? So my advice is, I'm going to give you an example, an analogy of a swimmer. So if you think about a swimmer, and I remember reading something about a swimmer that needed to swim the English Channel from the UK to France, and it's about 26 miles. And they asked him, how do you swim 26 miles? And he said that I do it in only a piecemeal system in my head, i.e. what I do is I only think about the next stroke and the next stroke and the next stroke. I don't think beyond the next stroke. And in the same way, when you're preparing for your career in UX design or UX research, you need to think about breaking things down into tiny tasks. So for example, let's say you're starting with discovery. You're learning about discovering a UX design problem, i.e. the problem statement. What is the problem we're trying to solve? So it might be an app where people are dropping off and they're not actually completing the purchase. So you're trying to discover that problem. You're going to break that down into your discovery phase. So first you're going to have a workshop with your colleagues and say, right guys, what do you think the problem might be? So you get their feedback, you write that down. So that's one thing to discover, study and research. Don't worry about the whole UX design process or the UX research process. Worry about that one thing about discovery. How do we discover the problem? How am I going to get to the problem statement? And that reminds me, I have a free guide on UX design and UX research for you to download below. So once you've looked at all that area, problem discovery, and that moves on to UX research, researching the problem, listening to the users, and then it goes on to finding and booking your participants for your research. So if you break it down like that, just like the swimmer, one stroke at a time, it'll be a lot easier to take in all that information. If you struggle and you try to do too much at once, it's going to overwhelm you, stress you out, and I don't want you to lose hope or give up on your dreams. And so many people do give up before they get to become a UX designer. And I don't want that to happen to you. If you really want to be a UX designer or UX researcher, it's very possible. So once you've defined your key areas, and the easiest way to do that is to use the UX design process and then break down your plan of learning everything you need to know for your job interview and for the job itself into those process parts or segments. So you can start with the discovery, and then you do the user research, then you ideate on that solution. What does that solution look like? Then you're going to go into working with the UX designer if you're a researcher, or if you're the UX designer, you're going to start prototyping and do sketching. And then you're going to deliver that and share it with your colleagues, and then go live with it with the public. So you're going to show it to some users and get some usability testing done to see how it works. So all those parts of the UX design process, you can break that down. You could say it's a month on each you're going to take, or 2 months if you're working full-time. And don't worry about the time it's going to take. It's fine. It can take, well, I know some people that got into UX design in 3 months. Others I know that got in 3 years. So it doesn't really matter. Time is not the issue. It's about getting to where you want to get to. It might take you 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year or longer. And that's fine. Everyone has their own pace of learning. Everyone has their own personal conditions, situations at home, family issues, bills to pay, rent to pay, living arrangements, whatever it might be. So all those things will affect the time it will take you to complete this whole journey. So don't worry and don't compare and despair. So don't think, oh, he or she got in earlier than me, or they're already a UX designer. Don't compare, just focus on yourself. That's the best way you're going to get to succeed in this. Another really key skill is to be able to learn and research and read. And the way to do that is to print out your information onto a wall. And why does that help? When you wake up in the morning, you see it on the wall. When you're eating, when you are just sitting around, you see the process on the wall. You'll see what discovery means on the wall. You can create headings or acronyms like A, B, C, D, PRT, whatever it might be that you want to highlight. You can put that in headings, in acronyms. So if it's a discovery phase, you might write down W for what is the problem, P for problem statement, and that's WP. It's easier to remember that way. So you might be driving the car or walking and saying WP, WP. And that will remind you of what the discovery phase is. So what is the problem? How do you create a problem statement? And so on and so forth. So you're creating acronyms that help you memorize your process. The other thing, because don't forget, when it comes to the process, it is your process, because there's no one fixed, agreed upon process for UX design or UX research. So it's really up to you. So you can take amalgamation, a grouping of 2-3 different processes you find on Google. If you simply go to Google Images and type in UX design process, you can take what you like from one or the other, but there is no one fixed way of working. Ways of working depend on you and what you prefer, and you won't get in trouble for using one or the other because it's never been defined. There's no one accreditation board for UX design or one awarding body, so it's really up to you. So you can take bits from different ones. For example, you might see the UX process defined as problem, research, ideate, prototype, and usability testing. In another one, you might see it written as discovery phase, and then it might say something like user feedback, and then ideation, then testing. So there are different ways of defining UX design process, and you need to choose the one that suits you, that you would like to do, and that you would enjoy doing, and makes it easier for you to memorize it. So if you write down or print out your own UX process or a standard one from the internet, print it on the wall. You can look at it every day. It will really help you to start to remember the UX design process. Now, finally, what I'd like to say is don't forget to download my free UX PDF guides on user research and UX design. And also, I'd like you to think about what does it look like for you to be in that job. So visualizing the job really helps you to get the job. So if you think, well, one day I'm going to be UX designer, I'm going to be UX researcher, and I'm going to be working here, I'm going to be working with a team, I'm going to be building products, solving problems, designing solutions. If you visualize that, it really motivates you and drives you to get to your end goal. So visualize it, imagine it, and you can make it happen. So don't forget to subscribe and follow this channel for more. I'll see you on the next one. This is 1UX1, and I'm Cam. Thank you, guys.